But yeah, I was struggling with all sorts of health issues, and somebody handed me a book called The Tao of Health, Sex, and Longevity. And it introduced me to Taoism. And in Taoism, they have a lot of breathwork practices. And that's where I started doing the breathwork practice. And then a few years later after that, Wim Hof hit the scene. You guys are familiar with Wim Hof, right?
Sort of.
Sort of. But he has his own, he's the one that made, cold plunging and cold showering so popular. And he has his own breathing technique. And then I started to get into that. But it was always kind of a hobby thing until it was a little bit over 3 years ago, and I was in Texas, and it was kind of random. I just had some extra time before I was going somewhere, and I was like, why don't I sit outside, do some breath work? And I started doing a little bit of this breath work, a little bit of that breath work, and I started to feel something happen. And it was really strange. It was like, this is starting to get psychedelic. So I was like, what if I keep on going? And I kept on going, and I was doing breath work for about an hour. And it started to get very psychedelic, very like colors and visions, and I couldn't stand up, and I was just in this weird place. And yeah, that was kind of an eye-opener. And then right after that, we had this ice storm hit Texas. Now, Texas is not used to.
I remember that, right? Because they were like their power grid.
They lost.
Isn't the Texas power grid like by itself?
Yeah.
Right, that's the shit.
Yeah, it's a whole nother mess,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And so I had 5 days of no power, no water, no heat. And I had just discovered this like cool new magic trick with breath work. So that's all I did every day for 5 days. And I started doing it to music and started breathing to music, because why not put some music on the background? And being a musician and understanding rhythm, I was like, what if I start breathing to the rhythm of music? And then I started doing that, and I started thinking, man, I could build like breathwork journeys with music. And that's pretty much how it all started. I ended up finding a group called Soma Breath. And that's all these guys do. They build music tracks, and they teach people how to guide people through breathwork with music. And got certified through them, and that was pretty much the beginning of it all.